Tree Talking Time is brought to you by Conkey's Outdoors. Get all your hound hunting needs at conkeys.com. Welcome to Tree Talking Time, where we talk all things tree dogs, from the smallest fights to the largest hounds, treating squirrels to bears and everything in between. And from time to time, we might even run a little fast game.
Well, we were hunting back on Bowes Creek several years ago, and we had how many dogs we had with us? About three.
Which
had Ace
story
and,
is this?
The time we seen the alligators,
Oh,
the gators, and we had our neighbors
about
with
three
us.
dogs.
Huh?
We had about three dogs.
About three dogs. We had Ace and probably Loretta and Julia, our three main dogs, and we had our neighbors. Our neighbors had just moved in here from Corpus Christi, and they found out we coon hunted, and they wanted to go. So Chris and Kaysen, Kaysen's his son, and Chris is our neighbor up there, up on the hill here. And so we were going that night, and was going down on Bowes Creek, down around Price, and we were hunting for coon, and we were in a real swampy area. Not really a swamp, but just flooded area. It was up around our knees. We had our hip waders on. We was all going through there. And we'd already seen some gators, spotted some gator eyes, and they normally don't bother us, You just go right on past them.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. Nah,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be hunting down here in the summertime, that's for sure.
And anyway, Chris and them seen them. We said, "You'll be okay. We'll just keep walking. They're just going to stare at us." So we just kept walking.
Well, Ace was treed on
And,
the other side of this slough, and he'd
well,
been treed for about 20,
Yeah, Ace
30
had gotten
minutes.
treed and was headed toward Ace, and all the other dogs was treed. And we got to the tree and got the coon. We treed the coon and all that, but we got the dogs leashed back up, and we was having to wade back out through the flooded area again.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a log floating up toward me. And I had a kind of double take when I shined my light because it kind of resembled a gator. And I thought in my mind, well, I'm going to have some fun with this. And I was kind of leading the pack, and Kella was behind us, and Chris and Kaysen. And that log was getting really close to us. It was floating in the water, had a kind of a current. And I just jumped up and screamed, "Gator!" and started running.
In the water.
In the water.
He's a lot taller than I am.
And Chris is a big guy. He's a stout-built guy. And he took off past me like he was running on water. It scared him to death. And I looked, and I said, "Where's Kella?" And Kella had Ace. And when we started running, Ace started running, and Kella tripped. And she was actually underwater like a torpedo coming through there. So.
Back to my water skiing days, you let go of the rope.
Yeah.
I didn't let go of the leash. So he's just pulling me under the water.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was a kind of a funny moment. We like to have a lot of good time and fun when we
At my expense.
when we hunt.
At your expense?
And kind of joke around, have a good time. So there's several things like that we've done. One time we was hunting just right close to the house here, had treed a coon.
We had Dixie in the woods that night. That was a treeing car. She's half red bone, half OMC.
Yeah.
We had her that night.
Yeah. We had
Ace
we had some other ones in there. And treed a big boar coon. And this was in July. It was really hot. And
I liked
had Chris and Kaysen with us again, and I shined the tree, couldn't find the coon. I knew it was there, so I kind of stepped back and got my squaller out. And Chris and Kaysen have never, remember, they're new at coon hunting.
Yeah.
They had never heard a squaller.
Okay.
And I didn't say anything about it. So when I stepped back, I just grabbed my squaller and I squall.
Well, see, just from a coon hunter's
Did you think about this, or did you just do it?
I just did it.
We just, you know.
I kind of did think about it, but I just want to see what they would do, their reaction. I was just going to see what Chris and.
But like, I wouldn't think anything of it. You know, you get to a tree and they're like, okay.
Yeah, but they never heard this. So
But they were looking. We were all looking up this tree. Had been looking for a while, and that's what we do when we get to the tree. We just, we decide ahead of time what we're gonna do. We're gonna use red light. We're gonna shine the tree. Everybody gonna look. We pretty much, everybody that hunts with us pretty much knows. Depends on the dog.
Okay.
Depends on how long they've been treed, all that kind of stuff. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm ready for anything in the woods. After hunting with him and all the people I've hunted with, I'm ready. I mean, you can't scare me. And you forget what I do for a living. I'm an elementary school principal, so nothing scares me. And
that job sounds terrifying.
Just expectations, just out the window. But he went. We were all looking. Had been looking for a while, and they were excited because the dogs were treeing, and it was good. And it was a Billy Linton squaller that you used.
Yeah, a real good squaller. So anyway, I hit that squaller, and as soon as I blew the squaller, I seen out of the corner of my eye, Chris threw his hands up, and he screamed for Casey. He said, "Casey!" And he put his arms around Casey and started running backwards with him. And I said, "Chris, it's okay. It's just a squaller. It's me." He said, "Man, I thought a panther had jumped out of that tree on us." He said, "It scared me to death." And
I was worried about him because I really thought, my gosh, he's gonna have some heart failure or something.
But stuff like that. I mean, we had fun, a lot of fun.
I don't know about up here, but I've been hunting the last couple of nights. About 2 hours south of here. If you hit a squaller, every coon I've seen, someone hit a squaller, they bail and not climb down the tree bail. They just sail out of that tree
like
from
a flying squirrel.
Yeah, like a flying squirrel. They just fly out of it.
Belly
and
out.
I'm just like, what in the world? The one night they're like, "Oh, there's the coon. They're like, here, get your camera." I'm like, I'm trying to find the coon still. Guy hits a squaller. He's like, and it bails. He's like, "Did you get it?" And I'm like, I have no idea. I never found it. So I'm like, I was pointing the camera up there, but I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of nights, when they won't look. I guess the last couple of hunts we've been to that we've taken the dogs last couple of weeks, we never got any of those to look. Like squalling, walking off from the tree, coming back to the tree. By the grace of God, I'm looking for a tail wrapped around. I think we found them I found the last two just by looking for tails. And, of course, we have people that go with us all the time that have never been coon hunting or want to go coon hunting, and we'll take people. That's fun for us. 'Cause we hunt together all the time, and, he gets boring, and I guess I do too. But it's fun
I
to
can't imagine hunting with you ever being boring. I've only met you about an hour ago, but then listening to about an hour and a half podcast or 2 hour, whatever that podcast is, I can't imagine hunting with you would ever be boring.
Well, I like taking other people, and I like my dogs being around other people. Like the last time we went, 2 weeks ago, we went with two older gentlemen on about 1,100 acres in the Sabine River bottom, and real close to home. I've always driven over Highway 42 and always looked down from the bridge to the river bottom, and always wondered, dang, I wonder who owns this land. There's gotta be coon in here, and there's roads all through it too.
Nice.
So I've always wanted to hunt that property. I mean, every time I go through there, I'm like, man, I wonder who owns this. And it's obvious it's a lease because there's deer feeders just everywhere, and that there's coon in there with deer feeders. Well, I met this gentleman on Facebook, and he wanted to go coon hunting. For about, 2 years he's been after us to go coon hunting, and we've never been able to meet up. And he's friends with a property owner there in Kilgore who owns this property. And we finally met up with that gentleman, and matter of fact, we went that Friday. We met that Sunday, and then that next Friday we went on about 1,100 acres, and we took our side-by-side, and they rode in the back, and that was fun. I don't think either one of them had never been coon hunting. 75 years old and never been coon hunting. And that was fun because when we, got the coon out of the tree, it's hit the ground, and of course, Ace and the dogs are just having a good time, and the coon's running and like almost runs right up his leg, and that is hilarious because he just squealed like a girl, and I got to laughing. I got to laughing so hard I couldn't even leash my dog up, and and then finally we ended up getting back in the side by side, and he kept turning around looking. I think he thought that coon was gonna come alive and get him, but
yeah, I've seen a few that weren't quite dead.
Yeah.
Start pawing around in a game bag before. So,
but that kind of stuff's fun, and just getting to see their excitement to the sport that we love, and it is good for. I had Abe in the woods with us that night. He's a young dog out of Ace, and it's good for them to be around other people talking and laughing and falling and tripping. And I even at some point I even let one of them kind of handle him because I was trying to handle Ace too. And it's just good for the dogs to be around different smells, sights, and people. And I'll talk to anybody and I think sometimes I get on Dale's nerves a little bit because if we have people and they're wanting to talk, well, I'm just going to talk too. And when I know I need to be a little bit quiet in the woods, but he'll look at me, he'll cut his eyes over at me, and I'll know, okay, it's time for us to be quiet. But I don't know, just the camaraderie and them having a good time, and then again getting to hunt this 1,100 acres that I've always looked at. I hope to go back pretty soon, but that's how that kind of happens. People wanting to go coon hunting. We have people that call us all the time and say, "Hey, I got coons in traps. What do we need to do with them? Just around here because we have a lot of coon in East Texas, a lot of coon.
We're real blessed to have a lot of coon here.
Yeah. Just here in the town of Overton, I think 2 years ago, they had so many raccoons in that town. I think the city ended up having to do something to take care of the populations of coons because they were just kind of interbreeding. When you get, you hear of a dog being bred pretty tight. Well, I think you can breed coons pretty tight too, and they were having a lot of health problems.
Okay.
And I think when they do, when there are so many of them and they're not controlled, then I think that's when they start having immune issues and immune problems. And I think they were having some with. I don't know, it wasn't distemper, it was something else, but lot of coon in this area, and then we don't have a season. We don't have a coon season here in Texas. You can kill as many coons you want to anytime, hot summertime, winter, and we don't always kill the coon. If I take Ace to the woods, I probably won't kill any of them. But if we have a young dog and he does well, and I need him to know that that's what it is that we're after, then we'll shoot one out. Now, when we hunt on these deer leases, it's understood that if we hunt on the deer leases, that we're supposed to thin out the coon because they're
for sure.
They're tearing up their deer feeders and
they eat so much of their corn and tear up deer feeders and all that. So they normally want us to
thin them out.
Take them out.
Oh, I imagine so. It's the same thing back home, farmers and stuff. So, but before we get too far into this, I'm here with the Stanleys. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
I'm Dale Stanley, and this is my wife, Kella Stanley.
You're currently the president of the Stevens Stock Breeders Association, right?
I sure am. Been the president for about, I guess it's going on my 5th year.
Okay. And then you're on the board of directors.
Board of directors, OMCBA.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm the first lady, I guess. Yeah. I put the yearbook together. I've never held an office. Have been member of the year, and I think the biggest thing that I contribute the most would be putting his agenda together and making sure that the guys are all doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, she helps out quite a bit.
Also,
the unofficial secretary.
I guess so. I put the yearbook together. I guess I've been doing the yearbook for the
Stevens Breeders,
for about 5 years. Yeah. We went to a whole lot bigger format on the yearbook. Went to all color and
nice.
It's a lot of work, but it looks good. It doesn't take too long. And then also I I guess I probably got my start in the dog business by writing in the Full Cry.
Okay.
For many years, I wrote in the Full Cry and enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
At times, it got, oh my goodness, is it time again? You know, just to
not?
submit that article. But I think,
Especially when it was monthly.
yeah, I think most of the world knows me through the Full Cry articles where I just wrote about whatever God laid on my heart. Usually faith, family. I talked about our dogs quite a bit, and our daughter. We have one daughter who's 28, and put some things in there about raising a teenage daughter, and for some elementary school principal. This is year 28 for me. Taught 11 years in the classroom, and then I've been an administrator for 17 years, and about getting ready to hang it up. But I will start a new career. I'll be 51 tomorrow, and
Happy birthday.
I am just now starting to live. We got our daughter grown and through college, and got her married, and they're doing well. And then now we've got 3 grandbabies, and the oldest one will be it's 2.5, and then we got 2 twins, a boy and a girl, and they'll be 9 months old this month. And
Nice.
I will say, our coon hunting at night has dwindled a little bit, not only due to not having the property to hunt, but also, you know, when Foxy and Papa are holding grandbabies and it's starting to get dark, you don't have the heart to tell them it's time to go home because we're going hunting. But
Foxy, that is
Foxy.
a new one.
You know,
that's what they call her.
When we knew we were going to be grandparents, you know, you always think, okay, well, what do we want to be called? Well, I didn't care. I was having a hard time just being grandma, period, I think, because I was, you know, going to be 50 anyway. That was a hard year. That was also the year Ace got sick, and I don't know if I was going through a midlife crisis or what. You know, I started getting tattoos and everything else, but they wanted to know what in the world my name was going to be, and I couldn't come up with anything. I'm like, I don't care. Whatever they come out and they call me, that's what I'm going to be. Well, my daughter said, you don't look like her grandma. You don't act like her grandma. You're feisty. So we thought my name was going to be Feisty, but one day she said something about Foxy, and I told Dale, I said, I don't know about Foxy. You know, I'm an elementary school principal, and if somebody hears Foxy, what are you doing, Foxy? They're going to think, dang, she might swing on a pole or something. But you know, whatever pole I need to swing on, I will, I guess, because I am Foxy. And when we go to town and I've got all the grandkids, you'll hear, I want Foxy, I want my Foxy, and everybody's looking. So
I think it fits you, though.
It's grown on me. You know, I'm not a Nene or a Nene or a Gigi or Mamaw or whatever. I'm a lot of fun. I like being with the grandkids, and I like moving about, and I can't wait till they can go hunting. I've taken Marty around on the side-by-side, and trying to get her to handle the dogs as much as possible. Hopefully we can raise them to enjoy the sport. And that brings up something. I don't know if y'all know, but here in the state of Texas, we can't host any sanctioned hunts without you coming to our state buying a state hunting license. Really. So I'm also the vice president for the Rusk County Republican Women's Group.
Okay.
And I've got my hands in quite a bit of politics. I'm proud of our president, who's in office right now. I make no beans about it, but we could talk about that a whole nother day. But anyway, Shane Shriver from down at the Timpson area called me when he's in the NSD Association, Hunting Dog Association, and he called one day and he said, what do you know about not being able to, out of state people not being able to come to Texas and hunt? And I said, yeah. I said, I know about that because we had talked about having a Stevens Breeders hunt here in Texas, and when we got to looking at how could we get a permit, there's no such thing as a permit. There's no such thing as getting a permit to hunt squirrel or fur-bearing animals in the state of Texas. If someone comes to Texas to hunt, they're supposed to have a Texas hunting license. You know, they can have a 5-day or they can have a an out-of-state license for the year, and so we never really put a hunt on due to that and a couple other things. But I know they have hunts here in Texas, and I know we have lots of hunts, and by the grace of God, no one's getting tickets, because I think it's just within the last couple of years, it's the interpretation of the law, the way the law is reading now, and they're forcing the issue of attempting to hunt. And I've talked to some game wardens, and they're saying that if a dog is in the woods and they are attempting to hunt and they have the capabilities of catching game on the ground and killing them, then you're not legally in the woods, not legally hunting. So anyway, Shane was hosting a hunt kind of down in the Big Thicket area, and he called and he said, "Hey, I hope I don't have any problems with this hunt, but we're going to go ahead and have it." And sure enough, they went out, took a cast out, he and a couple of guys, and they were coming out of the woods, and there stood the game warden. And luckily, he stopped Shane and his son Cutter and questioned them about what they were doing. And luckily, they had a Texas hunting license. Both of them had what we used to call top 2 license, and they had the right to be in the forest which they were walking out of. And then the other 2 guys that were on the cast were from out of state, and they didn't get questioned, thank goodness. But I think one of them was a Louisiana game warden, so he wasn't really worried about it. But he called me. He said, "Hey, I've got another hunt coming on, and I don't know what we need to do." So anyway, I called Austin. I called the Texas Parks and Wildlife Commission, and I talked to the new director, and he and I just hit it off. And then I talked to the chief law enforcement underneath him that's over all the game wardens, and told him kind of what we were doing. And they're like, yeah, y'all can't have that unless y'all get licensed. And so I have written a bill. We have the 89th Texas legislation in session now, and we have until March the 14th to submit any bills for the Senate or the House to pass a bill. And so I thought, well, we're going to get this changed. We're going to get the law changed. We're going to get something in policy. We're going to have them vote on it, and we're going to get it passed through. So I needed someone to sponsor it. And I needed someone to jump on from the Senate or from the House to push it through legislation. And I made a few phone calls and an email. I sent an email. I'll never forget. I sent an email from work through my personal email, and just took a gamble of how it would be received. And within 10 minutes, I'll never forget, I was in the cafeteria with 5th grade, and I got a phone call from Austin, from Senator Brian Hughes' office, saying that they were all over this. And it's the same individual who also a couple of years ago had the legislation passed where you could hog hunt in the state of Texas without a hunting license. So it's the same individuals who worked on that, getting that bill through, that has taken our bill.
Good.
So hopefully that'll get pushed through, and we can get that changed for our state, so we can host hunts here in Texas and get a permit where everybody from out of state can come and not have to worry about getting in trouble. And I took Indiana, and I took several other states which we hunt quite a bit, and got their policy and their permits and submitted that as well. So just to let the hunting world know, if there's things that are out there that you don't agree with or that is in legislation, policy and legislation can be changed.
Oh, for sure.
And so inform yourself, surround yourself with lots of knowledgeable people, and ask questions. We can't lose the right that we have to hunt. And I told Senator Hughes' office, I said, I might not get this passed in my lifetime, but hopefully it'll pass at some point if we have to draft several bills where my grandkids can actually do something like this. Because if we just roll over and don't do things, then it's going to be taken away from us, and then our future generations won't be able to enjoy it either.
Exactly. No, I think we've got issues all over. A lot of different states are having issues right now, and I know I've got a call scheduled next week about some other states' issues, to bring it to the podcast, because trying to bring light to these things and how we can fix them and also fight things that are negatively going to impact us. So getting involved is super important.
If this passes and it goes through, I'm gonna be dangerous.
Kella's pretty good at this kind of stuff, and
don't tell me no.
And she's also a pretty good cook too. She can do a lot of things. So you found that out this morning.
Had a good breakfast.
Yeah, she's got a lot of energy toward that and works hard at it. So hopefully we'll get something done on that end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need the right to retrieve.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, we were just talking about that the other night. When I was down there hunting and how that doesn't exist here.
I talked to a couple game wardens last week about that, and I said, has Texas ever had a right to retrieve? Like hunting dogs, and they're like, no, and you're not ever gonna get that passed. And I'm thinking, okay, you just turned the bulldog loose.
So here's my thing. Pretty much every state, a dog is considered property.
Right.
Okay. So my dog crosses onto your property. I come to your door. I ask you for permission. You deny me. Now I'm going to call the law because now you're denying me from getting my property. So you're basically holding my property hostage. So I'm going to get the law. I'm going to call them. What are they going to do? Eventually, we're going to get the dog off of your property. So what's the easiest way to do this? The easiest way to do this is just let me go get my dog without having to involve the law. I understand trying to make contact with a landowner.
But even here in Texas, because this happened to me, if I call the sheriff's department or I call the game warden and that landowner tells them they cannot go on their property, I do not get my dog. 3 days later, I get my dog. 3 days later. Because my dog got off the property, got onto someone else's property, showed up at their house, and I have collars and names all over my dog. They called me, and I was able to get my dog. But I could not go into that high-fenced property with these big signs that says, dog hunting with dogs is prohibited and will be prosecuted to the fullest. And we were an hour and a half from where we were hunting. It took me 3 days to get that dog back. Because law enforcement could not go into that property. They
wouldn't let the game warden in.
And if the law's told that they can't go, we can go a little bit further with this, and it kind of ruffles my dandruff a little bit. But so I can't go in and get my dog. My dog's treeing his heart out. Not gonna leave the tree. My dog's not gonna leave the tree unless I call him off of it. Can't get my dog. Landowner shoots my dog. That's another problem we have here. We had an incident happen last May, and young man here in Mount Enterprise had a hog dog, and it was shot. Man shot the dog across a county road, so that's already felony. Took the collar off the dog, disposed of the dog's body. Sheriff was called out. Sheriff got the dog. Got the collar, got fingerprints off the collar, and still that case is still open, and nothing's done about it because the boy's 19 years old, and I guess dad hadn't got him a lawyer or whatever. But I made some calls on that too, and got our local sheriff involved, and supposedly he's taking that detective off that case, and he's putting a game warden on the case. Okay. But what was funny is when the DIC or the investigator was called, he talked to me for a little bit, but then when he realized this was not going to go good for him, he quit talking to me and told me I could file an Open Records Act and get all the paperwork, whatever. But when I finally told the boy, I said, you need to call up there and ask for him because he's not going to talk to me anymore. When he called up there and started talking to the detective was telling him, it's pretty much a done deal. I can't prove anything. And the boy said, well, can I at least have my Garmin collar back? And he's like, what collar? Like, have you not read the report? Do you not know that you have a collar in evidence? I mean, you've had this collar for over a year. And he's like, I just want my $800 collar back.
Crazy.
So I know that kind of thing too. That's something else. There's some charges for killing dogs with tracking collars. The game warden, I think they said they work a lot of these cases, and there's huge penalties, but you have to prove a lot. And one of the things I had him talk to our East Texas Hunting Dog Association last Sunday. Had 2 game wardens come and just kind of talk to the hunters that wanted to show up, and we talked about what to do if your dog is shot. What do you need to, do you need to video? Do you need to take pictures? What do you ask? What do you say? Who do you call? Those types of things to kind of maybe help if it ever happens to us. But yeah, I'm with you on the property.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You would think the law would be able to, in some way, that's your property, help you be able to retrieve it.
Yes, and we want to follow the law. We don't want to trespass. We seems like everything around here's got purple paint on it, and we don't want to. I mean, I can't afford with my job to catch a case is what we call it at school. But I do enjoy hunting, and I do want my dog back.
Yeah.
And the landowner doesn't want my dog on their property. But one of the things that Dale and I do, when we find a piece of property, and we, like the 1,100 acres that we went to, before we ever went to that 1,100 acres and went riding around, we asked the landowner a few questions. Where are the property lines? Yeah. Do you know who owns the property around this property? And if they get off here, and then where's the major highway? How far is the major highway? Because that's number one. That's worse than alligator. So those are some questions that we ask. And then when we do have some property that we hunt, well, I'll just say around here, where we hunt around here, Christmas, they're getting homemade cakes made for them. We're taking them treats, and we're thanking them for letting us hunt and get on their property. We don't have to do that. They don't expect us to do that, but we take care of our landowners when we're able to hunt, and we're on a few paid leases, and we make sure even then we are courteous to the deer hunters and the ones that want to hunt deer. We try not to busy the woods when they have their season and that kind of thing. But it's a respect thing, and
for sure.
Even with the hog hunters around here, we have a lot of hog hunters, and if I hear of one cutting fences or giving anybody that hunts with a dog a bad name, because the first thing they're going to do when they see our dogs is, oh, they're hunting hogs. Yeah. Just because we have tons of hogs around here. But we have to correct them. No, these are not hog dogs. These are coon and squirrel dogs, and they mean a lot to us, and they're worth a lot to us.
Yeah. Well, speaking of these coon and squirrel dogs, I want to talk about the Stevens and how you guys even got into the Stevens.
Well, I've had cur dogs for over 30 years.
Okay.
And I started out with the OMCBA dogs. It was a Busher type dog that we had here 30 years ago. A good friend of mine had brought some in from Ohio. He bought some Busher bred dogs and brought them here to East Texas. And I started hunting with him back in the mid to late 80s.
Okay.
So I've been hunting that long with these type of cur dogs.
Now, did you hunt anything before that? Like coon, squirrel, anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been hunting ever since I was 14 years old. I'm 59, so.
What'd you get started with then?
I've had everything. I've had feist. I've had curs, hounds. I've had it all. But mainly, my main type of dog that I like is the cur dog. So that's what I always focus on.
So how old were you when you got started with cur dogs then?
I probably got my first cur dog when I was, I'd say 20. I was in my early 20s.
Okay.
When I got my first cur dog, actual cur dog. But anyway, I hunted. His name was Mr. Robertson, and he was a good friend of mine, and much older than me. But he had brought these dogs in, and I started hunting with him. And the type of dog they were, he coon hunted. That's what he did. He was a coon hunter, and these dogs open on a track.
Yep.
And so I always enjoyed listening to the dogs open on the track. And it was the dog's name was Metal Fork Busher Sam, and he actually had Busher Sam in his pedigree.
Okay.
So the original Busher Sam. So that's the type of dogs they were. They were brindle, about a 50-pound dog. Brindle with the black back. Yeah. It wasn't solid brindle, but they were real nice looking dog.
Three saddleback dogs.
They're saddleback, type dog. And but you would they hunted real deep. They hunted hard, and they would always get the coon. So that's what I started out with, and hunted those dogs for years, and it just got to where you couldn't really find anything to breed back to them.
Yeah.
That was like they were. So about 10 or 12 years ago, I got my first Stevens. I've always heard about the Stevens dogs, read about them in the Full Cry and all that, but never had one. There wasn't many here in Texas to start with, but finally got one. There's a little, she probably wasn't, Loretta probably didn't weigh 30 pounds time she got grown. But I started her out on squirrels, and when she was young, she started treeing squirrels, and then broke her over on coons later on. But she was my first Stevens dog, and like I say, I couldn't find anything. I always like a little bit of opening mouth on a track, especially on coon hunting. And I got to where I couldn't find that in the OMCBA dogs around here.
Yeah.
And so I just started hunting the Stevens.
Okay.
Conkeys Outdoors is proud to be a sponsor of Tree Talking Time. Family, hunting, tradition is the Conkeys motto. They understand the importance of passing down the tradition of hound hunting. They are a family-owned business that treats you like family. They also understand the importance of having the gear you need when you need it. Conkeys carries everything for your next hunt, and it ships to your door quick. They also offer great warranties on all tracking systems and financing options. Check them out at conkeys.com. You can also use the code TreeTalkingTime5 in all caps to save as well.
Well, one of the things I noticed when you got Loretta, our daughter was she was trying to kind of get an interest in dogs too. But what I noticed about the Stevens is, we'd always had OMCBA, but I always had to worry about her with certain one of those. Some of them, just kind of not real good with kids. They were good with us, but I just kind of worried about them. But one thing about the Stevens is how they're. I've not really had an ill or grouchy Stevens dog. I mean, we've raised a lot around young kids, and that's one of the things. That's how they handle. Now, our original Mountain Curs, we had some really good ones, and we raised them, and they were all good. But if you ever kind of got one that wasn't used to you, their temperament was just a little bit different. Sometimes ill on the tree and those kind of things too, and just didn't let you guard down when the kids were around.
Yeah.
But with these Stevens, we've never had a problem with any of our Stevens ever being grouchy with any of the kids that come around, or grandbabies or anything like that. And I'm sure, there's exceptions, and there's probably some that hadn't had the best home lives out there. But the handle on these dogs, and we had one dog named Hatchet that was almost like human-like. You can tell that story about... He got my seat one day, and in the side by side, and
we was getting in a side by side and fixing to load up and go hunting, and Hatchet, I pulled up, and Hatchet jumped in the front seat and sat down, like, okay, I'm ready to go.
He never sits in the front; he gets in the back on the rigging box.
I said, Hatchet, that's where Kella sits, and he looked at me and jumped over the front seat and sat in the back, and Kella got in. I said, well. That's hard to believe he did that. I think it was just a coincidence, but it was like, okay, I'm going to get out of her seat and get in the back. It just
smart.
And then I looked at him and said, you don't ride in the seats. You're a dog. You need to get back, you're supposed to ride on the rigging box, And I think we ended up getting him back there on the box, but he just thought he's supposed to be
they're
on the
very
inside.
intelligent dogs. But
roughly how big are your dogs?
They're anywhere from, some of the females are right at 30. But anywhere from 30 to 45 pounds.
Okay.
We've had them in that range.
Gotcha.
You never know what you're going to get. You can, little puppies, you may have some that grow up to be around 30 and then some over 40.
Yeah.
But I've never seen anything much over 50.
And we've had maybe two that we've raised out of
So they're a smaller type dog.
That were close to 50.
They hunt really hard. You have to, some of these dogs we got, they just have a lot of go.
Yeah.
And you don't see them till you get to the tree. I personally like that type of dog, but they've got a lot of hunt in them.
And they will Depends on where we hunt too and who we hunt with too. I think they will come check in. Like Ace, it's kind of strange, if I'm out on a cast and Dale's not with me and I'm out there with some men, just me and whatever, I notice he kind of checks back in a little bit more than if Dale's with us.
Yeah.
I mean, I know y'all probably think I'm crazy, but I think it depends on where we're hunting too. If there's some coyotes or stuff in the area, or some something just doesn't seem right, or maybe some hogs or something in there, I think they'll check in a little bit more than they do. But for the most part, I'm constantly having to look at my Garmin to make sure they're not getting without a range.
Yeah.
And then of course we hunt with hunting horns too. I know a lot of people on my Facebook has asked, "Is that a horn? I mean, is that one of the old kind of horns?" It's a cow horn. That's what it is, and Dale makes them, and they have.
Oh, that's awesome.
We can call our dogs back.
Yeah.
Using that horn. We do that quite a bit because they get out of range pretty quick. And here in East Texas, we kind of have some rolling hills, and sometimes we might have to get up on a hill or a high spot, and we can blow that horn, and you can watch the Garmin, and you can see them kind of get a little bit closer and closer. But we train them that way, because it's just difficult with all the property lines and so many houses and people moving into the area. You got to be able to get them back.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, those horns, I've made those. I've got my great grandpa's hunting
That's
horn.
awesome.
Yeah, I'll show it to you before you leave.
Yeah,
here,
definitely. I would love to see it.
But and I kind of make them like they did. Just kept the thing going, tradition going.
That's pretty cool.
And use them with our dogs.
Yeah, I think around here, I know our neighbors up there, and they hear us blowing that horn, they know what it is. And even when we hunt down here in the Bowles Creek bottom, I think most people probably know it's us down there.
Yeah, I can blow that horn from Bowles Creek bottom, and Kella can hear it here.
How far is that?
Probably about a mile and a half.
Through the woods, a lot of wood, and a lot of stuff.
Mile and a half
us.
or more.
That's pretty cool.
And what's funny too,
on a clear night, you can hear it. We tried it before just to test it.
Yeah.
I guess our daughter's been married about 4 or 5 years, and when she left here, Dale said, "You need to take this horn with you," and she blows that horn, and she had some blue tick and some horn, and she trained those dogs to come back to her house with that hunting horn. So hopefully that's something that she can pass down to her kids as well, and we can keep that going, because we've hunted with a lot of older people, and we've hunted all over the country, and when the cast is over and dead time and it's over, you can do whatever you need to get your dog back. Well, I'll cut down on that horn on a cast, and
especially with competition hunts, most of them you're not allowed to run a training collar.
Yeah.
So you don't have that tone button.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I've told everybody that I've went out with, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna take this horn, and if I have to scratch myself or whatever, or drop out of the cast, I will. But I'm gonna go to blowing this horn, and I gotta get my dog back. I'm from Texas, and we can't just come back up here next weekend to get my dog. So it's that's hard, with competition hunting, not being able to.
I think that's something I've never really thought about is training your dog to something like that.
Well,
and I think that's a great idea.
You'd and during the hunt, I've hunted some hunts where Ace has gotten across. Our dogs, for some reason, like to swim rivers and like to swim bodies of water after coon. They'll do what they take, what it takes to get to the coon or get under a coon. And Dale might want to tell that story.
Yeah, but
we had one perish.
These Stevens dogs have really good noses.
Yeah,
like Ace, he can tree a layup. Coon never has to be on the ground. We've seen him do it so many times, and so they got a great nose and tracking ability and all that's there. They're pretty accurate. You get the right ones. Of course, they're like any breed of dog. You have to breed them right and get the right ones. But
there's junk in everything.
Oh yeah,
I've seen that dog. I went to Mississippi and hunted. We had a Stevens spring hunt, and I went out. I guess I was out on a champion cast, and Daniel was with me from North Carolina, and then I had a guide from Mississippi that night, and I don't know who else went, but we got into some water, and they were worried about the hogs. I'm like, no, we're good. I'm not worried about hogs. He won't mess with the hogs. And got in there, and we were wading around, and like about mid calf, which my legs aren't very long, but anyway, just water all over the place. And Ace was he was locating. I could hear him locating there. I mean, just in there like nonstop locating. And anyway, we got treed. He got treed with water. I mean, everything was underwater, and you could see a paw print on the trees where he was checking all the, couldn't lay a track because it's water, but he was checking trees, and he treed that coon by using his scent and smelling up and checking trees or whatever. So I would say he probably has a cold nose. We've also did some trial and error things. We've taken when he was young. You just want to know is it really this good? Is it this good? Is it really this true? So we took a coon a couple of times and let a cage coon out when he was young, and waited about an hour and a half to see if he could still check the. And I think we went all as much 3 hours one time, just to see if he could track it and get it treed. And
he did it.
He did it. He's
nice.
But like she mentioned, they don't seem to be afraid of water. That's a bad thing about they'll swim.
Yeah.
I had a young female coming on really good, and it's been over a month now.
Seems like yesterday, but
we were in Sabine Bottom up around Lindale on some WMA property, and we were hunting, and they had got out about 800 yards from us and struck a coon. Had Alice, the little female, and we had Abe,
both
the young male.
Under 2 years old, both of them.
Both under 2 years old, and they just started clicking, doing really good. And they struck a coon out there, worked it. We watched them on our Garmin, and I looked at my Garmin. I said, Kelly, they swam the Sabine River.
About 800 yards from us.
And so
now, for somebody like me who does not know how wide is the Sabine River?
It
that spot
varies.
It varies in width, but at that particular spot, it was probably a good 30, 40 yards across.
Gotcha.
So
you can shine a light across a tree and see.
So anyway, I looked on my Garmin and I said they
There's no
cross the river. So we get in a truck and we start driving up as close as we can get to them. And got down there. I figured out where they crossed. We walked down to the bank of the river. They're treeing, hammering on that coon right across the big oak tree across on the other side. Shine a light over there. There they are. They were up on the bank, quite a ways from the bank, actually, treeing this coon. I shined the tree, never could see the coon.
Blew our horns, tried to get them off.
So I trying to figure out how I could get them to swim back over. They wouldn't come to me. I told them they wouldn't come to me. They kept treeing. So I started squalling, my coon squaller, shaking vines and trying to make them think the coon's over here.
We even went.
Even shot the gun up. They wouldn't. They would not leave that tree. So I told Kelly, I said,
we're just gonna
let's
sit
just
right here.
go over here and sit on a log and let them tree. Maybe they'll
get tired.
come back over here.
But you don't want a dog to leave a tree. You know what I'm saying?
It's a catch-22.
We're just like.
But we was in a bind. We wasn't going to swim the river to go get them. So we waited there about another 20 minutes. They're still treeing. So I walked back down to the bank. I shined that tree again. The coon looked.
We
Finally
got
looked
excited.
And I thought, golly, there it is. And so Kelly come down there and I showed her the coon. She said, knock it out for him. I said, I thought to myself, well, okay. So I shoot 3 or 4 times and finally hit the coon. And I thought I hit him in the head.
He fell.
But he fell.
So,
hit the ground, had a lot of life in him. They started fighting over there. And unfortunately, the coon come down to the river, jumped in, and the little female went in after him, caught him. They got to fighting in the water. Neither one she couldn't touch. And they went down, stayed down, come back up. The coon got away from her. She swam after it again, grabbed it, went back down, and then she never come back up.
And then Abe's coming. Here's my young dog. He's coming and he's getting in the water because the coon's swimming on. And I just went berserk.
But
And then
unfortunately,
here I
we
go.
lost.
I'm starting to take off my clothes. I mean, I'm like, we're not losing 2 dogs tonight. Dale grabs me. He grabs me by my.
I said,
He's like, you're not
can't swim over
drowning.
there,
You cannot swim over there. And so I start screaming, like scolding him. I'm thinking, I don't care if we don't ever trade another coon. And he finally just turns around and goes back to the bank, and then I just stand there, and then the coon goes down. Like the coon didn't even make it across the river. It goes down.
Unfortunately, we lost the little female that night.
That's awful.
And all you can do is, I mean, I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, I wanted to cry, but I don't cry because that's a weakness.
It seemed like it took a long time for this to happen, but it was 20 seconds.
So I just hugged him.
Yeah.
It was over.
I said, Dale, come here. And I just hugged him. And he's like, man, I don't know why I did that. I mean, we're just standing there like shocked.
Yeah, and that was a mistake.
It was just, I had to go sit down.
It was a mistake I made. I shouldn't have ever shot the coon. I mean, that close to water.
But we've done it, I don't know how many times.
Yeah, but usually we leash the dogs up,
Yeah.
but we couldn't. But
Anyway, finally I get over my pity party, and I'm quit worrying about him. And I get Abe to come. I just start calling Abe, and here he swims, just as cool, just as cool as he can be. Like I could have done this 2 hours ago. And here he comes, and when I get him across, I'm just like loving on him, and just like, oh my gosh, I got my dog. And then we ended up just calling it a night, and so collar, dog, and all.
Man.
yeah,
In the Sabine River.
I've always heard of that happening.
Yeah.
You know, coons drowning dogs, but it's the first time it's ever happened to me. You know.
Dale you didn't hunt for about.
Yeah, kind of
I
let the wind out of my sails for about 2 or 3
I
weeks.
couldn't get him to go hunting, and I have another landowner who texted me, and he said, "Hey, has Dale been hunting again since that dog passed away?" I said, "Nope, he hadn't been out." And he said, "Well, tell him I got a bunch of coons on my feeders," and he sent me a bunch of pictures. He said, "You need to get him out here. We need to get him back in the woods." And anyway, I told Dale, I said, Stephen Dito wants us to come out there and do some hunting, and or Kevin Dito, and you went out.
Mm-hmm.
We went out again, and we've been out a couple of times, but and that's friends right there too. When all that happened, I put that on Facebook. I didn't put it on Facebook for a day or two, just because I'm like, what do you say and how do you say it? But I started not to, but I thought, this might help somebody next time think about what they're doing before they start to shoot a coon over some water. And and another thing, I thought, sometimes people look at me and think, she's really got her life together. She is perfect. Nothing ever bad happens to her. And I'm thinking, you know what? People need to know I'm hurting too. People need to know that this happens to good people.
Yeah.
And this happens to good dogs. And it doesn't matter how good you want to take care of your dog, or how well you train dogs, or what. It happens to good people, and it happens to everybody. So I just thought, maybe it will help somebody that's down on their luck or whatever. So I do put my stuff out there. I do put my life out there quite a bit, and y'all all know it because all y'all on my Facebook. But and I do think the dog world, it's a family within itself. It doesn't matter what kind of dog you have. I mean, I have people on my Facebook. And Dale recently has gotten a Facebook.
Whoa.
Let me tell you.
Welcome.
I am so tired of people messaging me saying, "Do you have a dog for sale?" or "What about this? What about that?" And I'm like, "Well, call Dale." And I'll just put his number out there. So,
I've had Facebook for like 3 weeks now and hadn't got the first message. Nobody's
because nobody knows you're on there.
I guess not.
I got tired of being a secretary in the original Mountain Car Association, which he's on the board of directors. Right now, Carl Smith has had some health problems, and we had to elect a vice president for that. And Clark Matthews got elected at y'all's last emergency meeting that we had to get somebody in place while Carl's recovering. And Clark's done an awesome job. I like Carl Smith. Carl Smith likes me. We're real good friends. I respect the man for what he's done for the association, and I won't ever talk bad about my elders. And I hope that his health gets well. And he does want to see the association go on. And but he's
Carl's been really good for the OMCBA. That's for sure over the years. And hope he recovers well and all that.
But with anything, he's been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
Carl's been in, and so has Miss Judy. Miss Judy Poor has been good to us anytime we wanted to register dogs. When I go to the hunt, you know, I make a point to speak to her, and I respect her too. And you know, no one's perfect. Have we made some bad decisions, you know, or ruffled some feathers? Of course, you're gonna do that in anything that you do. You're not gonna make everybody happy, and you're gonna make mistakes. I mean, we're just human. The whole association and everybody in there's no one's perfect, but she has done really good too. And the thing about her and Carl, you know, I know people are calling saying, "Hey, what happened? You know, was there mudslinging or who bit who and who knocked who out and all that kind of stuff?" Y'all, I mean, they've been in it a long time. And with anything, it's time for, you know, sometimes it's just time for somebody else to do something. It's not because they did it wrong, or it's not because people don't like them. And you know what? Sometimes things don't have to happen for someone else to just want to lay back and sit back and someone else take the reins. And I think maybe that's where the original Mountain Car Association might be. You know, Miss Judy stepped down. We got Paula Brown in there. We had lots and lots of applicants for that secretary treasurer's position. Lot of good people. I know some of them that applied personally. But anyway, Miss Paula Brown, I think she's gonna do well, and we need to support her. And Judy's helping her. Judy's supporting her and helping her through the transition piece to that. And Clark, he works with Carl. He talks to Carl Smith often, runs things by him. But Clark, I tell you, I like Clark. Me and him get along good. He's got a lot of energy.
He hit the ground running.
He's got a lot of energy, and I'll tell you, the first time that I ever met Clark, we had started going back to the hunts. Dale's been he's a lifetime member. He's been a member of that association, but we haven't always been able to drive 14 hours to Jamestown, Tennessee to go to these hunts. And, you know, we got our daughter raised, and we're on the dead end of our career or whatever, so we got lots and lots of vacation days and time. So we had decided we were just going to start going to Jamestown to some of the hunts and start supporting it.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it's had its bad days, and I think the DNA and all that has caused the cray-cray and most people, and the hating and the daggum Facebook. Oh my gosh, you know, that's worse than a junior high locker room. But and I got tired of hearing all that, you know, just about the negative stuff and yaying and all that. It's in everything. It's even in your churches. So people that want to say the OMCBA's just got a lot of drama. Well, so do our churches. You know, the devil likes to mess up a lot of things. So, anyway, I think the OMCBA is getting turned around. I was put as a policeman or a warden, really, is what it's like, on the Facebook. They one day I look up and I'm been added as an administrator to kind of weed through some of the, you know, the riffraff and that kind of stuff on there. And you know, I've worked with some people, and I've had to give some warnings and say, hey, we're not going to talk like that, you know.
Yep.
But I think that's kind of gotten cleared up, and
Good.
I think that the original Mountain Car Association is going to do some great things. And another thing, too, you know, if an association is not for you, move on down the road. There's a whole lot more down the road. There's a whole lot more things going on, and you know, people are talking about having new associations and new things every day, and I just don't want the original Mountain Car Association to go away. I want my grandkids to know that their pawpaw was on the board of directors, and he was a lifetime member of that, and I hope that they can pick it up and move on with it. But anyway, they are having a hunting march. Dale and I are not going to be able to make that meeting because we have the next weekend, we have the Stevens Breeder Association meeting and hunt in Paris, Tennessee, and we just can't drive 14 hours one weekend and then turn around the next week and drive another 14 hours.
I understand.
I would not want to be around me if I have to sit in a car that long, that often. But
you just got to stay down there all week.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about flying. I don't know.
You can't take a dog if you fly.
That's right.
I don't take a dog anyway. I got too much paperwork. Seems like to me, I show up and they're like, "Oh, she can do it. She can do the paperwork," which I don't mind. I like to stay busy. If I'm gonna be somewhere, I need to be helping. I need to be doing something. But as you saw in our kennel, I don't have an original Mountain Car coon dog.
Yeah.
Mine's black, and he ain't welcome at the original Mountain Cur. He is an original Mountain Cur, and his ancestry does go back to those dogs. But he's not a permanent registered OMCBA. He is an LMC.
Okay.
They were all in the same bunch at one time, and then I think 1970, Mr. Hughes Stevens, he broke out, and that's where the little black dogs originated about that time. And of course, he had them the whole time. Hugh was one of the founders of the Mountain Cur Club. They called it back then, I think, in 1957 when they established that.
Yep.
Dewey Ledbetter and Woody Huntsman, and I think Carl McConnell was in there too, and Hugh.
That's
Stevens.
pretty cool.
So they was all in it together.
Mm-hmm. So you got these 2 spring hunts coming up. Anything else for the associations coming up?
So let's see. Our Stevens Breeders. The original Mountain Cur ads are due, guys. If y'all are an OMCBA member, your ads are due. Coming up pretty quick, and for yearbook on both of the associations. Ours due April. I said April Fool's Day. Don't be a fool and go after April Fool's Day. But and then if you get it to me on tax day, you might be lucky to get it in on April 15th. But we've got that going on. And then in June, I'm working on the flyer for the original Mountain Cur Association, the flyer for June. That's the June hunt. And then, of course, the Stevens Breeders Association will have our fall hunt in October, second weekend of October.
Okay.
That's usually the same weekend of our anniversary. We'll be married.
Tell City, Indiana.
33 years this October?
Yep, 33.
And so we always kind of do that, take off work and go up there and do that in Tell City. But I don't know. I have a few feelers out there. I don't mind squirrel hunting. I will go squirrel hunting with anybody, and I can sure squirrel hunt. I can get around good in the woods. But and I blame Dale for not liking squirrel hunting because when we got married, we had these busher dogs, and we've had some doobie line Feist, American Trim Feist, and my first 4 years of marriage, I didn't work. I went to college, and we didn't have kids, so we did a lot of traveling and a lot of hunting. And I'm a country girl, I like. If he wants to take me on a date, I'd love going. Feed me tacos and take me coon hunting and tell me my dog's good. That's my night right there. But
that is going to be the title of this. Feed me tacos, take me coon.
Yeah, and let me show you my tattoo. If I can do that, that's a romantic night right there.
There you go.
But anyway, I don't mind squirrel hunting, but I can't stand to go squirrel hunting, and all I do is pull vines and shake trees and beat on trees and move around here and move around there, and then to have to be told, you might want to be quiet. I just
that's hard for her to do.
Just not
really?
gonna do it.
Yeah. I never would have imagined.
Yeah, it's hard for her to do. Be quiet.
But take me coon hunting. I'm telling you, I don't care if we have to fight alligators. I don't care if I'm wading through a swamp or a slough with water moccasins sitting over there, curled up on a whatever with their mouth all like that. Because I'm gonna tell you, when their mouth is open like that and your coon hits that shiny white mouth, that is target. That is like easy target right there. Just shoot right there at the mouth and you're gonna hit the head. So
there you go.
And I'll tell you something else with the snakes. Someone was telling me that Cutter Shriver can do this, and then Cody Branscombe here in East Texas can do this, and I'm going to so perfect this. But you take your leash, and you can take your leash and hit the snake on the ground in some perfect way and kill it with one shot.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen it done. I'm not jacking around with you. We were in the woods one night with Cody Branscombe, and we were in a creek bottom, and this water moccasin, I think it was, just came at him, and he took that leash and just pow like that, just took it, and the end of the buckle or whatever hit the head, and I'm thinking, what's the chances of that happening? And I thought, that is cool. I just thought, I need to so learn how to do that.
You can have fun. I'd rather just not see them, so.
Well, you're going to see them here. That and copperheads.
Not when it's this cold.
Well, no.
So.
Well, not this cold.
Well, I would beg to differ. The sun's out. You go down by the creek, you find a rocky area, you might see one laying out there.
Right now
It's
today.
possible.
Yeah, he's not going to be moving very fast.
Not tonight.
And you won't smell him. But anyway, I that's something that's on my bucket list to learn to do, is kill a snake with a leash.
There you go.
Y'all stay tuned on my Facebook, because it will so be Facebook official and live if I can do that.
Go. Well, unfortunately, we could sit here and talk for hours. I've got to get back, so we're going to have to wrap this one up.
Well, we've kind of been all over the place.
We were going to have to definitely do this again. I've had a great time.
Yeah, that's good. I appreciate you and what you do. I love hearing your podcast. Like I said, your voice is just so calm.
Yes, it's good you
so
do this.
Calm and all the people in this business, and you know, God love y'all. And if there's anything that Dylan and I can ever do for any of y'all, or if you just want to call, I know I've had a lot of people, since I haven't been writing the full cry, I've had people write me. I've had people join my Facebook telling me that they missed that. You know, I missed everybody that I used to have camaraderie. I mean, people would send us Christmas cards, and I kind of missed that. So if y'all are out there, and y'all used to read my full cry articles, we're alive and well. And I'll be a year older tomorrow, and Dale's doing pretty good. He hadn't shot himself or cut his neck lately.
I've
that
heard
didn't
them
even
stories.
make the full cry. I mean, good grief, that would have made a really good story. But
no kidding.
Hey,
I heard
Well,
that.
we'll talk about that another time.
Sounds good. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ben.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Tree Talking Media. And until next time, keep 'em talking in the timber.